Alright, welcome back everybody to Rogue Legacy 2. We're picking out the remainder of our upgrades and we're gonna move back into the castle, try the second area hopefully, and move on from there. That guy tells very poor stories, unfortunately. Talking about riding the boat with me. So we're gonna keep going with our guy here. Hook obviously has the ability to reflect projectiles, I'm sure up to a certain point. Also seems to light guys on fire. Yeah. Yep, 3 damage there. 3 different damage blah blah blahs. I do find it kind of interesting that the game decided that it wasn't going to give anybody a health bar in this game. Or I mean, any, like, you know, spikes, you know, projectile, wall projectiles. None of them have health bars, which, you know, I'm willing to take whatever you're gonna give me in game, you know, but you know, if you don't want to give the spike balls, inanimate spike balls, a health bar, that's fine by me as well. Just blood this time, no upgrades, unfortunately. Yeah, with the cook, you usually want to take this because I can immediately do that and regain some of my health, and then I can do that again if I get low. I think the cook's ability is based on food, so if I cook it up and then I get food back, I think I also get a charge back for my health cooking ability thing. Very worthless up here. Go through that. Kind of glad this game decided to give me the dash early, and then, you know, the air dash, you know, in quick succession, because it's definitely one of the bigger abilities, more than even double jump, that I use a ton of in the last game as well as this one. It's kind of irritated me. These guys aren't affected at all by the bramble bushes, you know. Affected by spike pits, but not bramble bushes. Whatever. 12% boost on the ground, or this one, Icarus Wings, gives me the ability to fly, but I take an extra 75% damage. Not great. I mean, you could abuse the shit out of this, obviously, but, you know. I'm starting to think about what games I want to play for the month of October. Spooky games, I mean. I have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm not sure how long the game I have in mind is going to take. And then another game is backup, because I don't think it's going to take me 30 days to beat the game. But I have another game in backup, but I've never actually... I bought it, but never actually played it, so... There'll be a lot of fumbling around there, I think. I believe in you. I don't think I got hit by any of those. That was a pretty good jump. Boom. Now I'll take the apple. That's essentially free. This transition into the upper area. Area 4. We'll just start calling them by their star ratings. I'm trying to see here if I would have made more sense to get go the other way. 15 guys, take no damage in between. If I get 15 before getting hit or not. Oh, I would have been dead there. Double dead. I'm double dead. Triple dead. I was just about to say, soon I'll be actually dead. Now I'm actually dead. But I defied death. I got 50% of my health back. So the run gets extended. We get to move into the next area. Or we can backtrack. Whatever. Not a big deal. I mean, I get it. We're not gonna do much with this guy, I guess. We might as well take, you know, as much gold as we can get out of it, but... Hmm. Yeah, I will say this is probably going to be the end of this run. Right here, right now. Or not. And I've still got 3 cooks, or 3 cooking, you know, pots of boiling water to do. Oh. Go out to the docks now. My nemesis. Rex again. Hey, pizza girl. 1,750 gold to unlock this. I am a bit short by about 100 gold. Oh, that's 100 gold. Alright, let's unlock this then. Alright. Guys, portal's permanently unlocked. Vegan. FND. What FND is. Become disarm when stressed. Okay, that's interesting. Probably means if I get hit, there'll be a time period where I can't swing back. One of the things that was suggested to me to play this game is always run through this first area, pick up lots of gold. An okay strategy, but like at the same time, like I don't get a ton of gold in here unless I really grind out the whole area. And that's, I think, also dependent on, you know, the particular run I'm on, you know, or in some cases you get more gold and sometimes you get less. No mana. Good job. Alright. Would actually be beneficial. Since it's September, We're getting close to, and we're in a year where, you know, we're in a voting year. I mean, every year is a voting year, but, you know, a major year where you're voting for House of Representatives and maybe voting for one of your 2 Senate seats, depending on what part of the cycle you're currently in. To make a long story short, I always find it fascinating how people make the choices to vote. You know, what motivates them to vote for one party over the other. Particularly in this day and age where everyone seems to be a lot more set in their ways. Is that the right way to explain it? You know, there's a lot more variation, I think, between what you would consider a Republican back in the 1980s and 90s and what is now considered to be Republican or a Democrat. But you know, particularly insofar as you could be a Republican that held more progressive social views, or you could be a Democrat who held conservative social views, you know, in terms of, you know, marriage and that sort of stuff. Now it's like you have to abide by the, you know, the party's policy, the rhetoric, or they'll find someone who will do that for them. But sort of getting back to my my earlier point of this little story or question I'm asking is, I always particularly been very interested in this idea of why do people vote for one party over another, particularly if they're always voting for a Democratic Party or you're always voting the Republican Party. There's a lot of the one that I wouldn't say they're all sort of, they all have their own ups and downs, but like I know there's a lot of you know, Christian right people that'll vote Republican all the time just because, you know, that's what they know. You know, that's the party that has the, you know, the quote unquote Christian values, you know, and you know, it doesn't matter, you know, that, you know, Donald Trump was a well-known, you know, adulterer. You know, he's a Republican, so, you know, you hear these ridiculous thoughts about, well, you know, God's going to change him. When he becomes president, he's going to become a good Christian man. Like, no, you're just forcing your own thoughts upon, you know, your own hopes and desires upon, you know, so that he fits more neatly into, you know, the more conservative standpoint, religious standpoint. You know, and then obviously the, you know, there's economic stuff too as well, where, you know, a lot of times the poor will vote against their own, or even the rich will do it too. They'll vote against their own self-interest. You know, party that offers, you know, big tax breaks, particularly if you're in the upper tax brackets, you know, you're gonna benefit off that a lot. But you see a lot of Hollywood elite that don't really care about any sort of tax break. You know what I mean? You know, they're more interested in the social aspect of it, I guess. I know it's more nuanced than what I'm even saying. I just think about that kind of stuff sometimes. Like, you look at these people and you would go, well, you know, okay, you're pro-life, so, you know, you feel you're willing to vote for anyone who even remotely espouses that belief, even if they don't necessarily believe in it, or if they're not actually doing anything to help you accomplish that goal. Though, you know, that's been one of probably the most successful, at least in the last 5 or so years, been very successful thing, you know, between the you know, what, you know, little turtle guy and you know, Trump were able to accomplish after what was his name? Let me think. Give me a sec. Boy, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name now. There was a big howdy do when he passed away near the end of the Obama era, because they're like, nah, you gotta dig that body up again, you gotta autopsy that because we think he was poisoned. It's like, nah man, he had a heart attack. No. Conspiracy nuts drive me nuts with that kind of, or they drive me crazy with that kind of stuff, because it's like, no, not everything's a conspiracy, not everything's run by the deep state, you know. So, you know, people live lives, they have health issues that are specific to their, situation, their genes, what have you, and, inevitably, we're all gonna get old and die, so, it's not always, you shouldn't, I don't actually believe in any conspiracies, but, this concept of, well, they had him poisoned, whoever had them poisoned, the Illuminati or the Democrats or the Republicans or, the socialists or the communists or aliens or, flat earthers, Hillary Clinton, Chinese terrorists, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, I always find it sort of interesting, like, if people were given, instead of voting for a particular person, what if I wrote down a list of things, you know what I mean? Are you for or against these things? And then based on it, you would vote, your vote would be tallied, and you would be, attributed to the person who you most closely represented, who you are, what you believe, regardless if that person's, say, a libertarian or a Green Party member, what have you, Christian fundamentalist. I'm more of a, a proponent of representation, like, if you asked me, what would make America better or make America a little bit more equal, and I know people in smaller states would argue against this very thing that I'm about to say, but you would take the that's instant death though. $35. Alright, we're dead. But I think, the way the legislature is set up, it's set up in such a way where everybody gets 2 Senate seats, right? Everybody gets equal representation on the Senate floor, okay? But, if you're from Montana or North Dakota or South Dakota, or there's a number of other states, you have a population and you're represented by one person, one House of Representative member. But, if you take the population, you divide amongst the number of House of Representative members, it's like, oh well, Montana should be sharing their House seat with like North and South Dakota or something to that ridiculous, like everyone should have at least one House of Representative member, right? I mean, that's basically how we wrote it. But at the same time, we've never really, there were, I think there were even, I'm not sure if they were, I'd have to look it up, constitutional amendments, but I mean, there was a point where, the number of House of Representative members was set 1 for every 10,000 or 1 for every 100,000, whatever. And at a certain point, we just said, no, this is how many there are going to be. everybody gets one in each state, and then they're parsed out proportionally, you know, to everybody, you know, based on population. So you have places like California where, you know, one person represents, you know, 250,000 people, whereas in, you know, Montana, they're representing, you know, whatever, 400,000 or whatever the number is. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, you know, take the lowest state, or the population with the state with the lowest population, that equals 1. When you eclipse twice that number, you get 2 votes. And when you know, 3 times 3 times 4, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and then, yeah, obviously that's going to give more votes to California and Texas and New York, probably New York and Illinois pick up some, I imagine. But we're talking about proportional vote, we're talking about equal representation here. We're not talking about, well, you know, you live in a high population state, you know, you're getting kind of fucked with, you know, your representation. You're underrepresented. Or even if you didn't do that and you just let, like, every person gets 1 vote for president, you know, and it's not, well, you know, you won 50, you know, 50.1% of the vote, you know, you just barely won by 1,000 votes or so, okay, you know, and that's the difference between, you know, Florida going one way versus the other, you know, and that's a lot of electoral college votes, whereas it's more, you know, out in the Midwest and, you know, the Rockies, you know, you're going to have a large percentage of people voting, you know, one way. And then on the coast, you know, the East and West Coast, they're going to vote the opposite way, you know, because just the way it is, you know. So, it's just a thought. Not really anything I, you know, worry about too much. Or go, oh, this is wrong, we gotta redo this, blah, blah, blah. It's just... Okay. Well, they don't take any damage until after they get hit by the fire, is that it? Jeez. Blows. Like I said, I'm a big fan of you know, getting representation, you know, instead of going, well, you know, everybody has to vote for Democrats or Republicans, or we have to have, you know, a party essentially implode and have a new party, you know, essentially take their place, you know. You know, why can't we have libertarians? You know, why can't we have, you know, socialists on the ballot? No, you can't, because, you know, the Republicans and the Democrats have to take up part of that, because how the hell are you supposed to win otherwise? You know, even though those oftentimes, you know, you have very moderate Democrats that, you know, are borderline conservatives, you know, or people who, you know, live in an area like California or New York, and, you know, they're forced, if they want to be a Republican, they have to be more agreeable, you know, to the other side, because that you won't be able to win without getting a fair number of the, you know, moderate voters. I don't know. And they all have their own versions of wasting money. You know, I mean, a lot of conservatives are very worried about, well, why are you spending money on this and why are you spending tax money on that? Because they just want to pay less taxes at the end of the day. I get that, you know. Who wants to pay money, you know, to the government? But, you know, at the same time, no one wants to, you know, walk out of their house and plug pay the toll machine at the end of your driveway to drive to work every morning, particularly when the tolls go up, you know, a quarter every 5 days, or not every 5 days, you know, every year it goes up $1. So, you know, in 2000, you know, you're driving to work for $1, 2001, you're driving to work, you know, for $1.25, $1.50. You know, within 10 years, you know, you're up to $5 because of inflation and bullshit like that. Roads don't get any better quality. Eh.